Number 1. Daily reflection and journaling. One of the most transformative practices of Stoic philosophers was their dedication to daily reflection and journaling. This habit wasn't just a method for recording thoughts, it was a powerful tool for self-improvement, emotional regulation, and aligning actions with principles. Marcus Aurelius, in his renowned work, modifies this practice. His journal was neither intended for an audience nor as a literary masterpiece. It was a private space for honest introspection and growth. Stoic philosophers approached reflection as a structured ritual. At the end of each day, they would take time to analyze their thoughts, behaviors, and decisions, focusing on how well they embodied Stoic virtues such as wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. This process of reviewing them to confront their shortcomings, celebrate their successes, and set intentions for improvement. Key elements of their reflective practice included asking probing questions. What did I do well today? Where did I fall short of my principles? Evaluating emotional reactions. Did I respond to challenges with patience and rationality? This habit wasn't limited to personal actions, but extended to understanding the broader forces of life. By recognizing what was within their control and what wasn't, Stoics could focus their energy on making meaningful changes while accepting external events with equanimity. Journaling served as more than a record of events. It was a tool for organizing thoughts and achieving clarity. Writing forces the mind to slow down and articulate ideas, turning abstract emotions and fragmented notions into coherent insights. For Marcus Aurelius, this practice allowed him to reconcile Betrotha's role as a Roman emperor and his aspiration to live virtuously. How they used writing to grow. Processing challenges. Writing about difficult Stoics reframed them as opportunities for growth. Reinforcing values. Journaling about virtues like courage, discipline, and justice kept these ideals at the fore of their minds. Examining the self. Stoics used their journals to confront their ego, acknowledge flaws, and hold themselves accountable. This approach to journaling not only deepened their understanding of philosophical concepts, but also provided actionable insights for navigating daily life. The act of writing became a daily ritual of refinement, enabling Stoics to live more intentionally and purposefully. Incorporating daily reflection into your routine can transform how you engage with the world. Just as Marcus Aurelius used meditations to navigate the challenges of leadership, you can use journaling to clarify your thoughts, strengthen your character, and move closer to your ideal self. Number 2. Reading widely and deeply was a cornerstone of the Stoic philosophers' journey toward wisdom. For the Stoics, learning wasn't confined to abstract philosophy but spanned various fields, from ethics and logic to science and literature. This practice allowed them to cultivate in breadth and depth, enabling them to address life's complexities with clarity and insight. 1. Reading as a gateway to wisdom. The Stoics' reading was not merely about acquiring information, but about cultivating wisdom. By engaging with diverse texts, they sought principles that govern the natural world and human behavior. They didn't limit themselves to Stoic writings. They drew inspiration from thinkers across disciplines and traditions. The Stoics approached reading as an active, deliberate process. They didn't passively absorb information. Instead, they engaged critically with texts, questioning assumptions and applying insights to their own lives. This method ensured that their learning was practical and transformative rather than theoretical. Key practices of critical reading. Questioning. The Stoics would ask, what is the author's main argument? Is it supported by reason and evidence? This habit sharpened their analytical skills. Identifying core principles, they extracted key lessons from each text, focusing on ideas that aligned with their pursuit of virtue and wisdom. Comparing perspectives. By studying opposing viewpoints, the Stoics refined their understanding and avoided intellectual complacency. Seneca's approach to reading. Stoics maintained a balance between exploration and mastery, ensuring they read widely to gain perspective and deeply to solidify understanding. They sought practical takeaways, asking how the texts could improve their lives or enhance their pursuit of virtue. Revisiting works they'd already read, they approached texts with fresh eyes and uncovered new insights. Engaging critically with texts also fostered intellectual humility. By challenging their own ideas and embracing constructive doubt, the Stoics developed a deeper understanding of themselves and the world. Reading widely and deeply was central to the moral development of the Stoic philosophers. By exploring diverse texts, engaging critically with ideas, and applying insights to their lives, they cultivated the wisdom needed to navigate life's challenges. This timeless practice remains a powerful for anyone seeking to grow intellectually and live with purpose. By embracing the Stoic approach to reading, we can expand our horizons, refine our thinking, and align our actions with enduring principles. Practicing deliberate silence was a core discipline for the Stoic philosophers, who understood the profound power of restraint in speech and the wisdom that emerges from thoughtful observation. For the Stoics, silence wasn't merely the absence of words, it was a purposeful act of reflection, self-control, and heightened awareness. In a world filled with noise and distractions, deliberate silence allowed the Stoics to distance themselves from trivial matters, focus on what truly mattered, and cultivate a calm and composed mind. Epictetus, one of the most influential Stoic teachers, emphasized the importance of listening more than speaking, pointing out that nature itself gives us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, to hear more and talk less. By adopting silence, they could absorb knowledge, observe the subtleties of human behavior, and approach situations with a sense of detachment that allowed for clearer judgment. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the futility of idle chatter and gossip, noting that engaging in meaningless conversation not only wastes time but also clouds the mind with unnecessary concerns. He encouraged himself to rise above the opinions of others and avoid getting entangled in conversations that served no greater purpose. Deliberate silence gave him the space to process his thoughts and remain grounded in his principles, even in the face of external chaos as an emperor managing the vast Roman Empire. Seneca, another prominent Stoic, warned against speaking impulsively or saying more than necessary, as words once spoken cannot be taken back. He believed that mastering one's speech was a reflection of mastering one's mind, and by exercising restraint, individuals could avoid conflicts, misunderstandings, and regrets. Silence, in his view, was not a sign of weakness but of strength, a way to assert control over oneself and maintain dignity in interactions with others. The Stoics also used silence as a tool for learning and self-improvement. By listening attentively during discussions and debates, they could identify the strengths and weaknesses of different arguments, refine their own understanding, and avoid the trap of arrogance that often comes with speaking too much. Silence, therefore, became a form of humility, a recognition that there was always more to learn, and that true wisdom often comes from listening rather than speaking. In their pursuit of virtue, the Stoics valued silence as a way to prevent harm caused by careless words, which can damage relationships and reputations. By pausing before speaking, they gave themselves the opportunity to ensure their words were necessary, kind, and aligned with their values. This practice of measured speech also extended to their written communication, where clarity and precision were prized over verbosity. For the Stoics, deliberate silence was not about withdrawing from the world, but about engaging with it more mindfully. It enabled them to observe without judgment, respond with wisdom, and act with purpose. In moments of silence, they could reconnect with their inner selves, reflect on their intentions, and align their actions with the natural order of the universe. This practice remains as relevant today as it was in ancient times, offering a powerful antidote to the constant distractions and noise of modern life. By embracing deliberate silence, we can create space for self-reflection, deepen our understanding of others, and approach life's challenges with a calm and composed mind, just as the Stoics did centuries ago. Engaging in rational debate was a fundamental practice for Stoic philosophers who believed that dialogue was a powerful tool for refining ideas, uncovering truth, and developing intellectual humility. Far from seeking victory in arguments, the Stoics approached debates as opportunities for mutual growth and enlightenment, valuing reason and evidence over emotion and ego. For Epictetus, rational discourse was a way to align oneself with the natural order of reason, which he saw as the guiding principle of the universe. In his teachings, he emphasized the importance of questioning assumptions and challenging beliefs, both in oneself and in others, as a means of strengthening understanding and eliminating falsehoods. Marcus Aurelius, though an emperor, frequently engaged in thoughtful discussions with his advisors, treating their perspectives not as challenges to his authority, but as valuable contributions to his decision-making process. He recognized that debate, when approached with openness and respect, could illuminate blind spots and lead to wiser actions. Similarly, Seneca, in his letters and dialogues, demonstrated how reasoned argument could bridge gaps in understanding and inspire personal transformation. For the Stoics, the art of debate required a disciplined mind, capable of listening attentively, responding thoughtfully, and avoiding the pitfalls of emotional reactivity or rhetorical manipulation. They believed that the purpose of debate was not to win, but to arrive at a deeper comprehension of the issue at hand, whether it concerned ethics, logic, or practical matters. This emphasis on rationality over rhetoric distinguished Stoic debates from those driven by sophistry or vanity. The Stoics also recognized the role of humility in effective debate, understanding that no individual possesses a monopoly on truth. By acknowledging the possibility of their own ignorance, they remained open to correction and learning, a mindset that not only fostered intellectual growth but also strengthened relationships. Engaging in rational debate was seen as an exercise in virtue, requiring courage to confront uncomfortable truths, justice to respect the perspectives of others, and temperance to maintain composure under pressure. This virtuous approach to dialogue extended beyond philosophical discussions to everyday interactions, where the Stoics applied the same principles of clarity, patience, and reason. In debates, they sought to clarify misunderstandings, dismantle flawed arguments, and constructively explore alternatives, all while adhering to their commitment to truth and virtue. The benefits of rational debate were manifold. It honed critical thinking skills, deepened self-awareness, and cultivated the ability to navigate complex issues with confidence and integrity. Moreover, it reinforced the Stoic principle of focusing on what is within one's control. In this case, the quality of one's reasoning and the manner in which one engages with others. By prioritizing substance over style and truth over triumph, the Stoics demonstrated how rational debate could elevate both the individual and the collective, creating a foundation for wisdom, collaboration, and progress. Their example continues to inspire modern thinkers, reminding us that the pursuit of truth is not a solitary endeavor, but a shared journey that flourishes through thoughtful dialogue and mutual respect. Number 3. Cultivating emotional intelligence. Cultivational intelligence was a central practice for the Stoic philosophers, as they recognized that mastering their emotions was essential for living a life of virtue and rationality. For the Stoics, emotional intelligence was not about supreflings, but about understanding and regulating them to align with reason and wisdom. They believed that emotions like anger, fear, and envy rose from misjudgments or distorted perceptions, often fueled by focusing on things beyond one's control. By reframing these perceptions and focusing on the Stoics developed the ability to remain calm and composed in the face of adversity. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself to view opportunities to practice virtues such as patience and resilience, rather than as obstacles to happiness. In his meditations, he reflected on the transient nature of life, futility of allowing fleeting emotions to dictate one's actions, urging himself to rise above petty grievances in his principles. Epictetus taught that while external events cannot harm us, our reactions to them can, and he emphasized the power of choice in determining how we respond to situations. For him, emotional intelligence was about taking of one's inner state and refusing to be enslaved by irrational passions. Seneca, who wrote extensively on anger, described as a temporary madness that clouds judgment and leads to destructive actions. Advocating for techniques such as pausing before reacting, reflecting on the consequences of one's words and deeds, the Stoics also valued empathy and compassion, recognizing that understanding others, perspes movations, was key to maintaining harmonious relationships and avoiding unnecessary conflicts. They believed that cultivating emotional daily practice and self-awareness, which they achieved through reflection, journaling, and philosophical study. By examining their own behaviors, they identified triggers for negative emotions and developed strategies to counter them, such as focusing on gratitude, practicing mindfulness, and embracing the dichotomy of control. Emotional intelligence for the Stoics or extending equanimity in both success and failure, as they understood that external circumstances and beyond our influence. This perspective allowed them to navigate life with a sense of balance and inner peace, remaining unmoved by praise or criticism and grounded in their commitment to virtue. By mastering their emotions, the Stoics demonstrated that true strength lies not in suppressing feelings, but in understanding and channeling them in ways that promote wisdom, harmony, and purposeful action. Their approach to emotional intelligence continues to inspire modern thinkers, offering practical tools for managing stress, improving relationships, and cultivating a resilient and balanced mindset in an increasingly chaotic world. Number 4. Embracing the dichotomy of control. Embracing the dichotomy of control is one of the most profound teachings of Stoicism, a principle that offers clarity and composure in a chaotic and unpredictable world. At its core, the dichotomy of control distinguishes between what is within our power and what lies beyond it, guiding us to focus our energy on the former while accepting the latter with grace. For the Stoics, this understanding was the key to a life of tranquility and purpose, enabling them to navigate adversity without being overwhelmed by fear or frustration. Epictetus, a former slave-turned-philosopher, emphasized this concept in his teachings, asserting that our opinions, desires, aversions, and choices are entirely within our control, while external events, such as the actions of others, natural occurrences, or outcomes of our efforts, are not. He believed that much of human suffering stems from the futile attempt to control the uncontrollable, a tendency that breeds anxiety, disappointment, and resentment. By internalizing the dichotomy of control, the Stoics cultivated resilience, and knowing that true freedom lies in mastering their inner world rather than trying to dominate external circumstances. Marcus Aurelius, in his meditative writings, frequently reminded himself to remain focused on his own thoughts and actions, urging himself to meet challenges with patience and integrity rather than wasting energy on things he could not change. As a Roman emperor, he faced immense pressure, yet his commitment to this principle allowed him to lead with wisdom and composure, even amidst war and political turmoil. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This insight reinforced his ability to act decisively within his sphere of influence while surrendering to the outcomes with equanimity. Seneca, another prominent Stoic, elaborated on this idea by comparing life to a play in which we are actors given certain roles. While we cannot choose our roles or dictate the script, we can perform our parts with excellence and dignity, focusing on how we respond to the circumstances handed to us. For Seneca, the dichotomy of control was not an excuse for passivity but a call to action, a reminder to direct our efforts toward what truly matters, cultivating virtue, improving ourselves, and contributing meaningfully to the world. The Stoics recognized that embracing this principle required constant practice and mindfulness, as the human tendency to fixate on external outcomes is deeply ingrained. They developed strategies to reinforce this mindset, such as daily reflection, journaling, and rehearsing worst-case scenarios to desensitize themselves to potential losses or setbacks. By visualizing the impermanence of possessions, relationships, and even life itself, they prepared their minds to accept inevitable changes without losing their sense of balance or purpose. This mental rehearsal, known as premeditatio malorum, was a way of immunizing themselves against the emotional turmoil that arises when reality deviates from expectations. The dichotomy of control also shaped the Stoics' approach to relationships and social interactions. They understood that while they could influence others through persuasion or example, they could not control how others perceived or responded to them. This awareness freed them from the need for external validation and allowed them to act with authenticity and integrity, guided by their values rather than the opinions of others. In leadership, this principle fostered humility and accountability, as they recognized their limitations and focused on serving the greater good within their capacity. For individuals seeking to apply the dichotomy of control in modern life, the Stoic framework offers practical tools for managing stress, improving decision-making, and fostering emotional resilience. By identifying what is within our control, such as our attitudes, choices, and efforts, and releasing attachment to what is not, we can navigate challenges with greater clarity and confidence. This shift in perspective helps us prioritize our energy and avoid becoming entangled in futile struggles or unnecessary conflicts. It also encourages us to embrace uncertainty as a natural part of life, trusting that our ability to adapt and respond is more important than trying to predict or manipulate outcomes. The dichotomy of control is not about surrendering to fate, but about finding empowerment in self-mastery, a lesson that remains as relevant today as it was in ancient times. In relationships, careers, health, and personal growth, this principle serves as a compass, guiding us to focus on what we can change while accepting what we cannot with grace and gratitude. By living in accordance with the dichotomy of control, we align ourselves with the natural order of things, finding peace not in the absence of adversity, but in the strength to face it with wisdom and courage. The Stoics' unwavering commitment to this principle exemplifies the power of a disciplined mind and a resilient spirit, offering timeless guidance for anyone seeking to live with purpose and equanimity. Number 5. Applying philosophy to everyday life. Applying philosophy to everyday life was the essence of Stoicism, transforming abstract ideas into tangible actions that guided their conduct, shaped their decisions, and strengthened their resilience in the face of challenges. For the Stoics, philosophy was not an academic pursuit but a way of living, a discipline that provided a framework for navigating life's uncertainties with clarity, purpose, and integrity. Marcus Aurelius Seneca and Epictetus embodied this principle by consistently practicing what they preached, integrating Stoic teachings into their daily routines and responses to both triumphs and adversities. Marcus Aurelius, as emperor, applied Stoicism to governance, reminding himself to lead with justice, humility, and compassion despite the immense pressures of ruling a vast empire. He reflected on the transience of power and life itself, grounding his decisions in the understanding that his actions would outlast his titles, shaping his legacy and the lives of his subjects. His meditations are a testament to his efforts to live in alignment with Stoic virtues, demonstrating how he used philosophy to maintain equanimity and wisdom amid political intrigue, personal loss, and military crises. Similarly, Seneca used Stoicism to temper his wealth and influence, emphasizing self-discipline and the value of simplicity. Despite being one of the wealthiest men of his time, he practiced voluntary discomfort, such as fasting and sleeping on the floor, to remind himself that happiness and freedom were not tied to material possessions, but to the mastery of one's desires and fears. He also applied Stoicism in his mentorship of Nero, attempting to instill virtues in a young emperor who would later diverge from these teachings. Epictetus, a former slave-turned-philosopher, exemplified how philosophy could transform even the most constrained circumstances into opportunities for growth and virtue. He taught that while external conditions are often beyond our control, our responses to them define our character and freedom. By focusing on what he could control, his thoughts, actions, and attitudes, he turned his hardships into a source of strength and inspiration for his students. The Stoics practiced philosophy not just in extraordinary moments, but in the minutiae of daily life. They used techniques like premeditatio malorum, the mental rehearsal of potential misfortunes to prepare themselves for setbacks and foster gratitude for what they had. This exercise helped them face challenges with composure, viewing difficulties as tests of their character and opportunities to practice courage, patience, and perseverance. They also emphasized mindfulness and intentionality, reminding themselves to act according to their values rather than succumbing to impulsive emotions or societal pressures. Stoicism guided their interactions with others, encouraging empathy, fairness, and a commitment to the common good. By recognizing the shared humanity of all people, the Stoics approached relationships with understanding and sought to contribute to the welfare of their communities. In conflicts, they prioritized reason and compromise over dominance, using philosophy as a tool for fostering harmony rather than discord. In moments of success, they practiced humility, reminding themselves that achievements were fleeting and often dependent on factors beyond their control. For the Stoics, applying philosophy to everyday life was an ongoing effort, requiring vigilance, reflection, and practice. They used journaling to evaluate their actions and realign themselves with Stoic principles, treating each day as an opportunity to improve and live more virtuously. This commitment to philosophy as a way of life allowed them to face life's uncertainties with resilience and purpose, finding freedom and fulfillment in the mastery of their inner world rather than the pursuit of external rewards. Their example serves as a timeless reminder that philosophy is not confined to books or debates, but is most powerful when lived, offering a practical and transformative guide for navigating the complexities of human existence. Number 6. Making mentorship and community. Seeking mentorship and community was a cornerstone of the Stoic approach to personal growth, as the philosophers recognized that wisdom flourishes in dialogue and shared experience. The Stoics understood that no individual could master life's complexities in isolation, and that the path to virtue and understanding required the guidance, support, and collaboration of others. Mentorship for them was not merely a transfer of knowledge, but a dynamic exchange that challenged assumptions, refined character, and deepened insight. Epictetus, for instance, spent his life teaching students in his philosophical school, emphasizing the importance of questioning, listening, and engaging with ideas in a disciplined manner. His relationship with his students was more than instructional, it was transformative, as he pushed them to confront their weaknesses and align their actions with Stoic principles. Similarly, Seneca's correspondence with Lucilius offers a glimpse into the mentor-mentee dynamic, where advice, reflection, and shared exploration of philosophical concepts became a foundation for mutual growth. Seneca's letters were not lectures but dialogues, where he acknowledged his own imperfections and invited Lucilius to join him in the lifelong pursuit of wisdom. Marcus Aurelius, while an emperor, sought mentorship in the form of studying the lives and teachings of past philosophers and leaders whose examples guided his governance and moral compass. He considered himself a student of history, learning from the successes and failures of others to cultivate his own leadership style and ethical foundation. Beyond individual mentorship, the Stoics valued the role of community in fostering resilience and ethical living. They believed that humans are inherently social beings, interconnected and interdependent, and that our highest purpose is to contribute to the well-being of others. This perspective informed their approach to relationships, emphasizing empathy, cooperation, and a commitment to the common good. In their philosophical schools and gatherings, the Stoics engaged in discussions that were not only intellectually stimulating, but also profoundly practical, addressing real-life challenges and moral dilemmas. These communities provided a space for individuals to hold one another accountable, share wisdom, and collectively strive toward virtue. The Stoics also saw mentorship and community as safeguards against the pitfalls of ego and self-deception, as the perspectives of others often illuminated blind spots and offered constructive criticism. They encouraged seeking out those who exemplified the virtues one aspired to, using their guidance as a model for personal development. This process was not about idolizing mentors, but about learning from their strengths while critically examining their flaws. The Stoics' emphasis on mentorship and community extended to their belief in the unity of humanity. They rejected divisive notions of status, nationality, and privilege, advocating instead for a universal sense of kinship and shared responsibility. This inclusivity was reflected in their willingness to engage with people from all walks of life, from slaves to emperors, recognizing that wisdom and virtue were not bound by social or economic status. For modern readers, the Stoic approach to mentorship and community offers a powerful framework for personal and collective growth. By seeking mentors who challenge us to think deeply and act virtuously, and by surrounding ourselves with communities that value accountability and mutual support, we create environments that nurture resilience, wisdom, and meaningful connections. The Stoics remind us that the pursuit of a good life is not a solitary endeavor, but a shared journey, enriched by the guidance, insights, and companionship of others.